in particular, the subacute phase after recovery is critical because of a number of reasons, including that patients and families are likely to have the most frequent access to healthcare services, and there are a number of major clinical management decisions being made during these early months of recovery. And on top of this, it's also a period of time where families go through a phase of emotional recovery and adjustment to living with a communication disability. So along the lines of these psycho-emotional factors that come into play during this time, we know that mood disturbances such as depression are common. So approximately 1 in 3 people after stroke will have depression, and it's also more common in people who have aphasia compared to stroke without aphasia. And in terms of motivation, this is another factor that hasn't been thoroughly explored, but clinically we know that it contributes to a lot of clinical decision making to the extent of even feeding into major management decisions such as discharge from services. So with my research, I'm hoping to address a number of gaps in the current research literature, being exploring the relationship between mood, motivation and language function during this subacute phase of recovery, to investigate the current practices of speech pathologists surrounding how they approach how they approach conversations surrounding prognosis with families living with aphasia, and to better understand the experiences and perspectives of key stakeholders in aphasia surrounding conversations about prognosis. So these research agendas align with some of the key concerns that came to light from a national survey of speech pathologists working in aphasia, where it was identified that it was quite common for clinicians to feel that they, while on the one hand had the need to give an accurate prediction of recovery to families, they were also sensitive to balancing being realistic with what they conveyed, but also maintaining hope and motivation for therapy. So my project will be conducted across 2 studies. The first one being following a cohort of stroke patients within their first 6 months after stroke, and testing using a battery composed of language measures as well as a mood measure and motivation measure at 3 separate time points, so 1 month after stroke, 3 months, and then again at 6 months after stroke, to see if there's any relationship between these 3 variables at the separate time points, and whether early measures of mood and motivation have any predictive value for later language recovery. And then the second part of the project will look to conduct semi-structured interviews with these 3 key stakeholder groups. So people with aphasia who will interview at 6 months after their stroke, the significant others of people with aphasia, again at that 6 month time point, and then speech pathologists currently working with people with aphasia within that subacute time frame. And these interviews will focus on exploring their experiences and perspectives surrounding talking about prognosis, so the actual formation as well as delivery of a prognosis. And so hopefully these findings will contribute towards a better understanding of whether there is a relationship between mood, motivation and language during the subacute recovery period, and to inform a more evidence-based approach to prognostication in subacute aphasia.